A warm welcome to you all. I'm here today to discuss about the subject organizational management and entrepreneurship, which is the curriculum for 5th semester diploma E&C students. And we are going to study the chapter of entrepreneurship. And today I'm going to discuss about session 5 in detail and what are the main contents in session 5. We are just going to take a brief introduction about entrepreneurship. Okay, what's an enterprise? You have studied all this in your previous sessions, but today just we are going to take a quick refresh about the introduction. Then we are going to discuss in detail about the financing of an enterprise, what are the sources of finance, and we are going to study in brief about market survey and market risk. Now, as for you have already studied or you might be knowing who an entrepreneur is or what an enterprise is or what an entrepreneurship is. Now just me telling brief about what an enterprise could be. So enterprise can also be called as a business organization which is basically formed or which provides the goods and the services, which creates jobs or which contributes to the national income, which also helps in imports and exports, and above all it's mainly like improvises the economic development of the nation. Then when it comes for an entrepreneur, who is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is the person or an individual, or it could also be a team who starts up the enterprise. Then coming to the entrepreneurship, the process of creation of an enterprise, which includes its originality, its capabilities, the skills, and the difficulties that are involved in starting of an enterprise, can be called as an entrepreneurship. You can just see the figure here, which is going to show you the clear relationship between an entrepreneur and entrepreneurship and the enterprise. Basically, entrepreneur means he is a person or an individual who is responsible for beginning of an enterprise. And when it comes for an entrepreneurship, it's the process of like what all steps does he take to set up an enterprise can also be called as an entrepreneurship. And whatever is the outcome of the process is called as an enterprise. Okay. Then now financing of an enterprise. When we say we have to begin some enterprise or to start an enterprise or an organization, the main basic things that you need could be a finance. Okay, you have to develop an enterprise. For that, you will need some finance there to start up anything. Though you might have planned, but still you need finance to start up. So where are you going to get the finance from? It could be from personal finance, it could be a corporate finance or a public finance. And in the finance itself, you have again three types, there being short-term finance for an enterprise, medium-term finance for an enterprise, long-term finance for an enterprise. So what type of finance do we call it as short-term finance? Means here the term means the number of years that you borrow the money for. That is called as a term, a period. Okay. So if you are going to borrow the money for a term or for a period of 1 year or less than an year, then we call it a short-term finance for an enterprise. And when it comes for medium-term finance, if you are going to borrow the money for a period of 5 years or lesser than 5 years, then you can categorize it as medium-term finance. And when it comes for long-term finance, if you are borrowing the money or if you are going to take the money for greater than 5 years, or if you are just going to take as long as you are just going to run the business, then that is called as long-term finance. Again, it goes on how much you need and for what time you need, you can categorize it into three types there. Now, where are you going to get the finance from? This is again a question there. Who is going to lend you the money? Where are you going to take such huge investments from? That is what is the matter of importance here. The sources of like finance for an entrepreneur, they may get it from, again, there are many ways where you can finance your organization. Some of them could be internal source, and one more can be categorized as external source of finance. Then, what is this internal source of finance? When we say internal, you might be knowing anything that you do within your own vicinity, within your locality, or within for your own self, then that can be called as internal source of finance. Okay, when it comes for internal source of finance, so where can you get the money from for this? From the internal sources, right? The source itself, if the source who is providing you the finance is your own family, then you can call it as an internal source of finance. So if you are getting the money or taking the money from your family or from your personal savings, you can take it as an internal finance. Or if you are taking loans from the LIC or the Provident Fund account, you will have already saved some amount there. You'll have paid some money for LIC or you have taken some bonds there. And from that, if you are going to take the money for the investment of an enterprise, then that can be also called as an internal source of finance. And if you're taking the money from by pledging your property or some land there, then that also the loans against your properties and land can also be called as an internal source of finance because you're pledging something of your own there. Then if you are just going to take few shareholders along with you to start up, you are going to be a person there along with you. There are again few more people who are going to add upon the financial uh, the money, then that also can be taken as an internal source. And if you're just going to take the money or loans from your relatives and friends, then that is also called as an internal source of finance. Then when it comes for external source of finance, what are you going to do here? Some substantial amount is required by an enterprise to buy the machinery and the equipment and also to purchase land and buildings. See, you may be requiring a more amount of money or a capital. Okay, if you have to start up a business or an organization, you will be requiring a large quantity of money there. When your own personal savings or the internal sources are not enough, then you can go for borrowing it from the external source there. So what do you do if you have to buy a land, if you have to buy a building, or if you need to purchase some equipments or machinery for your organization, then definitely it is going to sum up to a larger amount. In such cases, you can just go for taking the finance from the following sources. So what are those sources? You could go for borrowing it from the banks, or you can go for the team leading from institutions like IDBI, IFCI, Industrial Development Corporations, etc. Basically, this IDBI Bank, which is called as Industrial Development Bank of India, this is mainly framed to provide loans for the industries or the organizations which are going to start up. And also IFCI, this is an Industrial Finance Corporation of India. This is also one of the organization which will readily help you if you want to set up an organization. And again, there are also some sources like it could be a government or a semi-government agencies who are ready to help you with the financing. And also there are many other sources which could come forward to lend you the money there. Clear? The next, and when it comes for institutional finance, there are some other institutions also which can be ready to lend you some money there. That could be State Bank of India Group or it could be nationalized banks. Nationalized banks include Canara Bank, Corporation Bank, Bank of India, Bank of Baroda. These all are few of the examples of nationalized bank. In the similar way, there could also be few private sector banks which are ready to lend you money. The examples of these private sector banks could be Axis Bank, Federal Bank, and all. Then you also could have some development corporations which have been specially established to provide industrial finance. You can just take their help too. Then there are also the Reserve Bank of India also guarantees you or it's going to give you the funding there. Basically ECGC, we call it as Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, that they are also the people who are just going to provide the finance for your enterprise. And I told you NSIC, National Small Scale Industries Corporation, those are also the people who provide the financial assistance to the organizations that need money for their the beginning of an enterprise. And also you have few others when you take, it could be mutual funds, it could be lease companies, some financial service institutions, investment companies, merchant banks, etc. These also provide the financial assistance to the industries. Okay, these are the few examples whom you can just take for to begin up with the enterprise that your dream project that you want to complete. So when your internal sources are not sufficient, clear, when your internal sources are not sufficient to start up an enterprise, then you can definitely go for taking the help of the institutional finances, or it could be the external sources which who can lend you any amount of capital that is required for starting up of your enterprise. Then next, we are just going to move on to the study of market survey and market risk. What is this now again? What is market survey? What is market risk? Okay, when you go for market research surveys, you can see the figure there. It basically tells you or speaks about the market, the customer behavior, advertising, product development, market structure, products and pricing. What do you think these all are? So when you have decided that you are going to produce something, you have an industry which is ready to produce something, you should also look for where are you going to sell the product that you are producing, right? Where are you going to sell it? Which is the right place or which is the right market for selling your products. So you should also know what's the customer behavior when your product comes into market, and how are you going to make reach the product to the customer, right? You know, one of the basic ways in which you can get know your product, where the customer can know your product, is by means of advertisements. You will have seen in most of them in TVs and all, you have heard it on radios, FMs and all, many advertisements you hear, and then you get to know about the products that are already available in the market. So advertising also could be a way where you are going to make reach the product that you have produced. Then again, product development. How are you going to develop the product? What is the market structure? Like whom are you going to sell it to? And what are the products that you are selling? And what is the pricing of the products? This is also a very important aspect when you are producing. What is the price of the product that you want to sell? You know, the every day the customer is the one who always wants the best quality product, and the when it comes for money or the pricing of the products, he want a quality the best, and also the cost should be like a reasonable. This is what usually every customer prefers. So in such way you will have to price your product that you want to sell. Now when it comes for market survey, what's market survey? So market survey is a survey or a research and analysis of the market for the particular product or the service, which includes the investigation into customer inclination. We are just going to read out the customer mind. What type of product does the customer wants? What is the requirement of the customer? What is his expectation? So if what type of product I produce, the customer will be happy and ready to purchase my product. This all survey or the analysis needs to be done prior you start up with the production there. So what did I say? Market survey is a survey, a research and an analysis of the market for a particular product or a service, which includes the investigation into customer inclination. Means what? The study of various customer capabilities such as investment attributes and buying potential. Is the customer having the potential to buy your product? Is your pricing ratio same? Is every customer happy buying your product, right? A market surveys are the tools to directly collect feedback from the target audience. So who is an audience here? Again, the customer who is buying your product, and to understand their characteristic, their expectations and requirements. This is what is much important. You will have to think of the product that I am selling here. So the target people or the customers who are purchasing it, are they liking the characteristics of the project? Are they getting what they expected from this product, or is their requirement getting satisfied? So this is what concept that you need to keep in mind. Then coming to marketers develop new and exciting strategies for upcoming product services, but there can be no assurance about the success of these strategies. So you may plan many varieties of ways how you are going to sell the product, but don't always expect that these strategies are going to fetch you some profit always, right? For those to be successful, marketers should determine the category and the features of product services that the target audience will readily accept. Okay, target audience, I told you, these are the your customers who are ready to take. By doing so, the success of the new avenue can be assured. So when you make assurance that your customer is satisfied with the product and whatever he required that you have supplied, then you can be assured that your product is going to be sold at a good profit. Most marketing managers depend on market surveys to collect information that could catalyze the research process. Okay, fine. You just go on selling your product. You feel the customer requires something else. What you are going to do? A little bit of modification in your process of manufacturing. Then definitely the next time your customer will be satisfied. Also, the feedback is the most essential criteria. When you get the feedback from the customer, that will make you analyze whether the product that you are selling is reaching the customer or is it satisfying the customer or not. So these are the few surveys which actually contribute in product marketing and future enhancement. The most important thing is that you should also look into the enhancement of your product. It's not that you produced it now and it will run in a long way. Always the customer needs some new, like you want something new in the product. So that enhancement, that research and development should always continue in the product that you have manufactured. So basically this market survey helps you to collect the data about a target market, such as pricing trends, customer requirements, competitor analysis, and other such details. So when we say survey, it is again collecting of the data. So here what type of data are we collecting? We are collecting the data regarding the pricing trends, right? Is your price ratio correct, or whatever the customer wanted, is the customer requirement satisfied, or like who are the competitors in the market, the persons or the people who are selling the same type of product in the market, we can call them as your competitors. You're also going to analyze them, right? And all other such details we are going to collect from this market survey. Okay, next, what is the importance of this market survey? We are just going to see why should we go for doing this market survey, and what are the 5 factors that depict the importance of market survey? The first thing is understanding the demand and supply chain of a target market. What is this demand and supply chain? What is the demand that we are going to speak of now? A product is most likely to be successful if it is developed by keeping in mind the demand and supply of the target market. You'll have to know, is your product demanded? Is there any demand for your product? That is one thing of concern. And if you don't know if there is a demand or not, and if you keep producing the things which are really not getting sold in the market, again you will be having loss there. So it's better try to manage and know what is the demand of your product. This way, marketers can obtain the insights about the market capabilities to absorb new products and concepts to develop customer centric products and features. I told you, customer is the king here. Whatever you are producing, you are doing it for the sake of customers. So the customer should be satisfied with your product. So you should always produce the products which are customer centric, means which the customer likes and like he is ready to buy in the market. Next, coming to the second point, developing well thought marketing plans. So what is this now? The world is a target market, right? Where are you going to sell your product? In the market, right? For an organization, especially a well-established one, getting data from the target market through market research using market surveys and segregation can be a source of creating concrete and long-term marketing plans. If you want to survive long in the market, then what you have to do? You have to have some strategic plans so that your product doesn't fail in the market. You want it to be long running in the market, then what you have to do? You have to make some market research and surveys such that it creates a long term marketing strategy there. Then we come to the third one, figure out customer expectations and needs. So I told you, customer is the one who is the person who that buys your product is a customer. Okay, definitely whatever the customer needs or whatever he is expecting from the product, that needs to be delivered. All marketing activities revolve around the customer acquisition. So whatever is the way the customer wants the product to be, you need to be designing that. A small and a large organization requires market surveys, and also it requires to gather some feedback from their target audience regularly. There should always be a survey on what whoever the customers got your product or bought your product, are they satisfied with? Keep taking the feedback from the customer who has bought your product, and when this customer is satisfied, then what happens? The product that you are selling has some purpose there. So first thing what you have to do is you need to figure out the customer expectations and the needs. And how do you get to know this? When you take the feedback from the customer, that is going to help you to judge this. Then coming out to accurate launch of new products. So what is this doing here? So when you said accurate launch, so how are you going to launch the product? How is the customer getting to know that you are selling something? There are many products in the market we still don't know. Why is that we don't know? Because nobody told us that. So in the similar way, we advertisement is one of the methodologies where you can go for launching of your products. You will have seen in the TVs and all. There are many number of advertisements increasing day by day, and every time you see that product on the TV, you will get to know, oh, this is being launched in the market. So the same way, what you have to do, market surveys are always influential in understanding where to test new products or services. Market surveys provide marketers a platform to analyze the scope of success of upcoming products and make changes in strategizing the product according to the feedback they receive. So when a person gets a feedback, when an entrepreneur gets a feedback from the customer, he will know that his product was launched at the right place. Clear? Next, we are going to move on to the fifth factor that is going to depict the importance of market survey. That is, obtain the information about customer demographics. So, what are you going to do? So, what mainly you are into a business there, or and the market surveys can be used to obtain intricate and sensitive details about customer demographics such as race, ethnicity, or family incomes, right? What type of customers are buying your products? What type of like income group people are buying your products? That all you need to keep in mind when you are going to sell a product. So now you are ready to launch your product in the market, and you also learned about the factors that are needed where you have to look on if you want to sell it in the market. Now we are going to see about a market risk. So what is this market risk again? So when you want to do something good, risk is always a common factor which runs parallel to you. So you'll have to look into the risks that are involved when you are selling the product. So what are those risks? First is the market risk, second is industry risk, thirdly the regulatory risk, fourth one being the business risk. Okay, so we are going to just discuss about first what is market risk. Let us define it. Market risk is a risk that the value of an investment will decrease due to changes in market factors. Earlier or the initial days when you started selling the product, your product was selling good and everything was fine. And one fine day when you look at the changes, the competition has decreased in the market. Your product is not getting sold as it was sold earlier. Clear? That is what you have to look into. Market risk is the risk that the value of an investment will decrease due to the changes in market factors. Okay, so what are these market factors? How are they going to change? So we are going to see now. The overall performance on the financial markets and can only be reduced by diversification into assets that are not correlated with the market, such as certain alternative asset classes. So you are going to see where the risk is involved, whether your finance is at risk, that all you have to look into. These factors will impact on the overall performance of the financial market, can only be reduced by diversification into assets that are not correlated with the market, such an alternative asset classes. Okay, market risk is sometimes also called as systematic risk. Why do we call it as a systematic risk? Because it relates to factors such as recession that impact the entire market. As an example, we can just see there a few months back, it could be just 5 or 6 months back, you could have seen the market was really running in very much lot of recession. Always there was a loss everywhere because it could be due to COVID-19 and all. That was just a reason there, but lot of the market fell at that time. So many of the entrepreneurs faced heavy losses during that time. That can be taken as an example of systematic risk. Next, we will just move on to the factors that are affecting the market leads or to losses to an entrepreneur. So, what are the reasons or the factors where the entrepreneur could fail? The first one is quality competition with existing similar products. So, you have manufactured or started manufacturing some product there, but similar type of product of other brand is already available in the market. Then what happens? Competition begins in the market, and if your product is of good quality, then you are going to win the competition. Else again you are going to, like, it could make the product fail there. Then coming to competitive price of selling, and though your quality, the product of the quality that you are selling might be good, but still when somebody else is selling the same product at a lesser price, definitely the customer wants to buy it from them. So the competitive price of selling also could be one of the factors. Then coming to selling on credit basis may lead to problem. You'll have seen in many shops, people buy things on credit. They are going to pay it at end of the month or end of the 6 months or something of that sort. So when you go on selling your products on credit basis, then that also could be a factor of the loss there. Then coming to improper analysis of market condition. You have not analyzed the market conditions properly. You'll have assumed something and something else happened in the market. So that also could be a reason there. Then cash on purchase of raw materials. What you do? You go for buying the raw materials by paying the cash, but you are giving the products on credit basis. So what happens? You will not have sufficient funds for the market surveys. Then we can see the risk management there. How are you going to manage the risk? I told you any product you want to sell or buy, always there is a risk involved. Then what are the risks? So how are you going to come out of this risk? And that's also one way of strategic management, how you try to manage the risk there. The first one being, you will have to identify what are the risks involved in selling the product. Then what you do, risk assess and analyze. Okay, you need to analyze, you need to make the chart out of, you have to chart out, like what are the things where I'm losing my money, like why did this happen. So all that analysis you go on doing that. Then do some proper plan action. What are you going to do to eliminate this risk? Then once you plan, go for implementing it. And once you implement it, what are the measures that you take and how do you control it and how are you going to monitor the risk? So these all act as an important factors for risk management. See there, growing firms always need some finance to facilitate their growth, but they may also require fund providers. What is happening day by day? You have seen lot many industries are emerging. Okay, there are many factories coming out. There are many organizations. There are getting built up and all. So who is going to finance them? So this is all you have to see. And who is going to facilitate their growth? Who are the fund providers? The relationship between the availability of internal finance and investment growth is often seen as evidence of financial constraint. You will also, whenever you are going to start up with something, you will also be having some amount of internal finance available with you. But as you go on expanding your organization or the enterprise, you may require little more of financial assistance that you can get from any internal source or external source, or it could be from institutional sources we have already discussed. Then, however, if the entrepreneurs are unable to obtain enough market funding, then an increase in internal finance is required. So you have estimated that you are going to get this much amount of price for your product, but what you expect when you don't get it, then what you need to do again, you may have to invest in little more of the finance there. And now what we are going to see is the relationship between the availability of internal finance and investment growth is often seen as an evidence for financial constraints. Okay, if financial markets are perfect, then the firm's investment decisions are independent from its financial decisions. However, if entrepreneurs are unable to obtain enough market funding, then there is increase in internal finance with relaxed financial constraints allowing investment growth to go ahead. So always you should be established in growing your firms. Clear? This is how you can expertise and you can sell your product in the market. But before you start doing that, you should always do a market survey, or you should also be knowing the market risks that are involved in buying or selling of the products. So now this is the end of the session, like what we wanted to convey in this we have done there. The first thing is financing of an enterprise, then coming to the source of finance, market survey, market risk. In our next session we are going to deal with how are we going to plan the project, what is the project capacity, how are you going to prepare the project report, and all we are just going to see there. Before that, here I have few MCQs for you. Just go through them so that, because if you have understood the session, you can easily, like clearly get through these MCQs. Internal sources of capital are those. What are those? So the first option being generated through outsiders such as suppliers, generated through loans from commercial banks, generated through issue of shares, generated within the business. So the correct option is generated within the business, because we are calling it as internal sources. What are the sources that are fetching you some profit? That is through the business. Second one being money obtained by issue of shares is known as debits, share capital, loans, reserve funds. The answer is share capital. Wherever you get the shares from, that's a share capital. Which of the following is a commercial bank? So which of these? You can say all of these: Canara Bank, Punjab National Bank, State Bank of India. It comes for commercial banks. Okay, the banks which are running for the sake of profit, we call them as commercial banks. The example is, or like the answer is all of this. Most of them all are the commercialized banks itself. Then coming to the fourth one, funds required for purchasing current assets is an example of current assets. Okay, current means at present you want to purchase something. An asset means it could be an equipment, a machinery, a building, or a piece of land. Then what is it called as? Fixed capital requirement, flowing back of profits, working capital requirement, or lease financing. It's basically working capital requirement. So these were the few MCQs, and now I like thank upon all the people who helped me in running out this session. Okay, it could be Suma ma'am, Mamta ma'am, Ravi Nayak sir, and these all are the content developers that are the people who are helping out with the LMS source here. So I thank them from the bottom of my heart for giving me an opportunity to share something which I knew. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you.